And I'm going to be quarantined. How people have the idea that New York City may be quarantined. You feel better, right? That's crude self-quarantine. There is no quarantine plan for New York City. If you rethought that or had time to analyze that public health strategy, I don't know that you would say quarantine everyone. I don't even know that that was the best public health policy. Young people then quarantined with older people. I don't know what an enforced quarantine means, but that's what we're doing already. There's been some reports that people who are on voluntary quarantine are not following the voluntary quarantine. When we say you are on precautionary quarantine, that is a serious situation. The mental health consequences of what we're doing. When we quarantined people, we quarantined about 10,000 people. But there was no quarantine containment. We said if we're asking people to be quarantined, we are asking the legislature to pass a bill that says people will be paid by their employer if they're on quarantine. Lead by example. New York State will pay any person who is quarantined who is an employee of New York State. So if you're on mandatory quarantine or on what we call precautionary quarantine, you'll be paid if you're a state employee. Mandatory quarantine, it is mandatory. With this new information, we may need to reset that quarantine period. That's going to be a situation that is going to develop because we're all in quarantine now. I mean, think about it. We're all in various levels of quarantine. And it's hard. Well, that's not a quarantine. That would be a lockdown.